Subscribe to Storylab for more stories. Now, let's begin this one. Chapter 1. The Call. Wayne Gentry had pulled 32 insurgents out of Syrian bunker with nothing but a knife in his bare hands. He'd walked through Fallujah's deadliest neighborhoods without flinching. 22 years in Delta Force had taught him that fear was a choice, and he'd stopped choosing it somewhere around his third deployment. But when his phone rang at 2:47 p.m. on a Tuesday, displaying Ridgemont Academy, his stomach dropped in a way no firefight ever managed. "Mr. Gentry?" The voice was clipped, nasal, dripping with impatience. "This is Principal Lorena Conklin. Your daughter Christina has been involved in an incident." Wayne's grip tightened on his steering wheel. He was 46 years old, retired from the military for 3 years now, working as a private contractor consultant, boring work that paid well and kept him close to his daughter. Christina was his entire world. After her mother Margaret died from cancer 5 years ago, it had been just the two of them. "What kind of incident?" His voice was calm, controlled. "Alpha State. Always Alpha. She's in the nurse's office. There was a confrontation with some girls from the basketball team. Mr. Gentry, I'll be frank, your daughter is pathetic. She can't even defend herself. Perhaps if you spent more time teaching her resilience instead of coddling her." Wayne ended the call. He was already turning his truck around. Ridgemont Academy sat in the wealthy suburbs of Northern Virginia, a private school for the children of politicians, lawyers, and old money. Wayne had moved Christina here after Margaret's death, thinking a fresh start would help. The tuition ate through his savings, but he'd have paid anything to see her smile again. She wasn't smiling when he found her. The nurse's office smelled like antiseptic and fear. Christina sat on the examination table, her hands wrapped in gauze, her face swollen and streaked with tears. When she saw him, she tried to smile, tried to be brave like he'd taught her, but her lips trembled. "Daddy," she whispered. Anita Friedman, the school nurse, looked up from her clipboard. Her eyes met Wayne's, and in them he saw something that made his blood freeze, pity mixed with outrage. "Mr. Gentry, I've called for an ambulance. Christina needs x-rays. Both hands. And her ribs. I've documented everything, taken photos. This wasn't a fight. This was assault." Wayne knelt beside his daughter, his hands hovering over hers, afraid to touch and cause more pain. "Who did this, baby?" Christina's voice broke. "The basketball team. All 8 of them. They said I was a charity case. That I didn't belong here. When I tried to walk away, they surrounded me. The captain, this girl named Doug Walters," Anita interrupted. "Actually, it's Dougie, short for Douglas. She goes by Doug." Wayne's head snapped up. The girls' basketball team," Anita explained. "They cornered Christina in the locker room after gym class. Held her down. The team captain suggested they teach her a lesson about knowing her place. Then they broke her fingers, one by one, starting with the pinkies." The room tilted. Wayne had seen torture in black sites overseas, had witnessed war crimes that gave him nightmares. But this, his daughter, his gentle, artistic daughter who painted watercolors and played piano. 8 players, he said quietly. "Names." Anita handed him a piece of paper. "I made a list. Doug Walters is the captain. Then there's Marshall Spaulding, Corey Little, Ross Conklin. That's the principal's son, by the way, Patrick Perez, Lance Plummer, Jerry McGowan, and Benny Tyler." She paused. "Mr. Gentry, I've been a nurse here for 15 years. I've never seen anything like this. The principal doesn't want to call the police. She says it was rough housing and that Christina is being dramatic." Wayne stood. The change in him was subtle but complete. His shoulders squared. His breathing slowed. His eyes, those gray eyes that had stared down warlords and extremists, went flat and cold. "Where's the team now?" "Practice. The gym." "Mr. Gentry." But he was already walking. Chapter 2. The Investigation. The ambulance took Christina to Northern Virginia Medical Center. Wayne rode with her, holding her uninjured forearm, whispering reassurances that everything would be okay. But inside, in that dark place where the operator lived, he was making calculations. The x-rays confirmed 8 fractures, 4 on each hand, deliberately spaced. Methodical. The radiologist, Dr. Lori Nolan, didn't hide her disgust. "This is torture," she said bluntly, pulling Wayne aside while Christina was sedated. "These breaks are strategic." Someone knew exactly how to maximize pain while minimizing the chance she'd pass out too quickly. "Your daughter was conscious for all of it, Mr. Gentry. Do you understand what I'm telling you?" He understood. He'd done interrogation training. He knew the techniques. How long for recovery? Surgery on both hands. 6 months of physical therapy. She may never regain full dexterity. She's a pianist, correct? Wayne nodded, unable to speak. Then you should prepare her. She'll never play the same way again. He left Christina sleeping and returned to his truck. His phone had 17 missed calls, 12 from Principal Conklin, 5 from a number he didn't recognize. He ignored them all and drove to the one place he knew he could think clearly. Jim Lutz lived 30 minutes away in Arlington, in a modest house that belied the fact he'd been one of the most decorated snipers in JSOC history. They'd served together for 12 years, had saved each other's lives more times than either could count. Jim took one look at Wayne's face and poured 2 whiskeys. "Talk." Wayne told him everything. Jim's jaw tightened with each detail. "Conklin," Jim said finally. "As in Ross Conklin? Principal's kid?" "Same. So, this was sanctioned. Principal's daughter is on the team. She's either leading it or protecting them. Either way, they think they're untouchable." Wayne drained his glass. "What do you know about Ridgemont Academy?" Jim pulled out his laptop. Old habits died hard. They both maintained intelligence networks, kept tabs on people and places. Within minutes, Jim had pulled up a dossier. Ridgemont's a feeder school for the elite. 90% of graduates go Ivy League. The basketball team is legendary. State champions 3 years running. Coach is Sharon Ferguson, former WNBA. The team gets national attention, college scouts, the works. The 8 girls. All for money. Doug Walters, father, is Thomas Shepard. Yeah, the Thomas Shepard. Senior partner at Shepard, Crane and Associates. One of the most powerful litigation firms in D.C. Specializes in making problems disappear. Wayne's eyes narrowed. "Go on." Marshall Spaulding, Father Martin Snyder, federal prosecutor. Corey Little, Father Jeffrey Campos, Virginia state senator. The others come from similar backgrounds. Doctors, judges, old money. And Ross Conklin, well, you already know about the mother. They're protected, wrapped in Teflon and lined with gold, Jim confirmed. These aren't just rich kids, Wayne. These are the children of people who run this state. They've never faced consequences for anything in their lives. Wayne stood, his decision made. "I need you to watch Christina tonight. Stay at the hospital." Jim's expression didn't change, but his voice dropped. "What are you going to do?" "Why should I have done the moment I saw her hands?" "Wayne, they tortured my daughter, Jim, in a locker room, while teachers walked by, while the principal, whose own kid was involved, did nothing. There's no police report, no consequences. They think they won, and you're going to teach them different. I'm going to teach them everything." Chapter 3, the first quarter. The Ridgemont Gymnasium glowed like a cathedral at 6 p.m., all polished wood and bright lights. Through the windows, Wayne could see the girls' basketball team running drills, their movements synchronized and confident. Coach Sharon Ferguson barked orders from the sideline. Wayne entered through the main doors. The security guard, an older man named Larry, started to say something, but one look at Wayne's face made him step aside. The squeaking of sneakers echoed off the walls. Doug Walters had the ball, driving toward the basket with aggressive precision. She was tall, athletic, with the kind of swagger that came from never being challenged. Wayne walked to center court. The whistle blew. Coach Ferguson strode toward him. "Sir, this is a closed practice. You need to leave. My name is Wayne Gentry. My daughter is Christina Gentry. I believe your team knows her." The gym went silent. The 8 girls exchanged glances, some nervous, others defiant. Doug Walters stepped forward, spinning the basketball on one finger. "Oh," she smirked. "The charity case is Daddy." "What are you going to do, Daddy? Cry about it? Your kid couldn't take a joke." "Maybe if she wasn't such a weak little." She never finished the sentence. Wayne moved. Not fast. He didn't need to be fast. He'd learned a long time ago that speed was less important than positioning, leverage, understanding the geometry of violence. He caught Doug's wrist mid-gesture and applied pressure to the radial nerve. Not enough to break. Not yet, but enough to drop her to her knees, the basketball bouncing away. The other 7 girls surged forward. Marshall Spaulding reached him first. Wayne swept her legs, controlling her fall, so she landed hard but not dangerously. Corey Little came from the left. He used her own momentum to send her tumbling into the bleachers. Coach Ferguson was screaming, but Wayne had already tuned her out. Ross Conklin tried to grab his arm. He'd trained instructors in 17 different martial arts. He'd forgotten more about combat than these girls would ever learn. Patrick Perez, Lance Plummer, Jerry McGowan, Benny Tyler. One by one, they went down. Not with wild violence, but with surgical precision. A hyperextended elbow here. A dislocated shoulder there. A knee twisted just past its natural range of motion. He saved Doug Walters for last. She was crying now, cradling her arm, the arrogance gone. Wayne knelt beside her. "My daughter is gentle," he said quietly. "She paints. She plays piano, or she did until you destroyed her hands. She wouldn't hurt anyone. That's why you chose her, isn't it? Because she was kind. Because she was weak. Please. I'm not weak. Remember that." He stood and walked toward the exit. Behind him, Coach Ferguson was on the phone, shouting for ambulances. All 8, just like he'd planned. Larry, the security guard, held the door open. "You didn't see me," Wayne said. "Never laid eyes on you, sir." Wayne stepped into the cool evening air. His phone was ringing, the unknown number again. This time, he answered. "Mr. Gentry?" The voice was smooth, educated, dangerous. "This is Thomas Shepard. I represent Doug Walters and several other families whose daughters you just assaulted. We need to talk." "No," Wayne said. "We don't. I'm afraid I must insist. You see, I'm at her house right now, with several colleagues. We have a lot to discuss about your future, or lack thereof." Wayne's blood went cold. "If you're at my house, then you know I'm not there." "Oh, we know exactly where you are, Mr. Gentry. We know everything. We've been watching you. And now you're going to come home and learn how things really work in this town. Or your daughter might have another accident. A worse one. Do you understand?" The line went dead. Wayne stood in the parking lot, adrenaline fading, reality crashing in. They'd threatened Christina. Not him, her. That was their first mistake. And it would be their last. Chapter 4. The Lion's Den. Wayne pulled into his driveway at 7:23 p.m. 3 black SUVs sat parked along the street, engines off but not empty. Professional security, the kind that wore expensive suits and carried concealed. His house, the modest 2-story colonial he'd bought with Margaret, where Christina had taken her first steps, was compromised. Lights on inside, shadows moving behind curtains. He killed the engine and sat for a moment, forcing his breathing to slow. Alpha state. These men wanted him afraid. Wanted him to feel violated, cornered, desperate. Instead, he felt something else entirely, curious. The front door opened before he reached it. Thomas Shepard stood in the threshold like he owned the place. Mid-50s, silver hair, expensive suit that probably cost more than Wayne's truck. 2 men flanked him, private security, definitely ex-military, but the kind who'd washed out or gone corporate. "Mr. Gentry, thank you for coming home. You broke into my house. I prefer to think of it as an intervention." Shepard stepped aside. "Please, come in." The living room had been turned into a makeshift conference room. 3 more men sat on his couch. Martin Snyder, Jeffrey Campos, and a 4th man Wayne didn't recognize but guessed was another parent. They all had the same expression, predatory confidence mixed with barely suppressed rage. "Let's be clear," Shepard said, sitting in Wayne's recliner. Margaret's recliner, the one Wayne still couldn't bring himself to move. "You put 8 girls in the hospital. Broken bones. Torn ligaments. One may never play basketball again. These girls have futures, scholarships, careers, lives ahead of them. And you, a washed-up soldier with anger management issues, decided to play vigilante." Wayne remained standing. "Those 8 girls torture my daughter. Broke her fingers deliberately. Your daughter led them." "Your daughter is weak," Jeffrey Campos interjected. He had a politician's smooth face and a snake's eyes. "Perhaps if you'd raised her properly." Careful, Wayne said softly. Campos laughed. Or what? You'll assault me too? Mr. Gentry, do you have any idea who we are? What we could do to you? Martin Snyder pulled out a folder. We've been busy the last 3 hours. Very busy. Did you know there are 17 complaints against you from your security consulting job? Harassment, threatening behavior, unprofessional conduct. All documented. All ready to be filed with the licensing board. Those are fabricated. Are they? Shepard smiled. Can you prove it? Because we have witnesses. Colleagues who will testify. We also have footage from the gym tonight, edited of course, showing you attacking defenseless teenage girls without provocation. The Coach Ferguson statement is particularly damning. You bought her. We convinced her to see reason, Shepard corrected, along with Principal Conklin, the school board, and 3 witnesses who saw you driving erratically on the way to the school. Reckless endangerment. Combined with the assault charges, you're looking at 10 to 15 years. The 4th man finally spoke. His name tag read Lowell Guzman, detective. I've already drafted the arrest warrant. We're just waiting for the word. Wayne's eyes moved between them, calculating. They'd covered their bases. Manufactured evidence, bought witnesses, corrupted officials. In 3 hours. These weren't just rich men throwing money around. This was systematic, practiced. They'd done this before. What do you want? Wayne asked. Simple, Shepard said. You leave. Tonight. Pack your essentials. Take your daughter when she's released and disappear. Move to another state. Another country. We don't care. But you leave Virginia, you never mention what happened, and you certainly never come near any of these families again. And if I refuse, then by morning, you'll be in county lockup on assault charges. Your daughter will be placed in protective services. We have documented evidence that you're an unfit parent with violent tendencies. She'll be fostered here under our supervision. And prison, Mr. Gentry? Prison is full of people who don't like child abusers. That's what will make you look like. A man who beat up teenage girls. How long do you think you'll last? Silence filled the room. Outside, a car engine started. One of the SUVs pulling away. Wayne heard footsteps upstairs. They'd searched his house, probably planted additional evidence. They were thorough. He'd give them that. I need to think, Wayne said finally. You have until midnight, Shepard stood, brushing invisible lint from his suit. Make the right choice, Mr. Gentry. For your daughter's sake. They filed out, leaving Lowell Guzman for last. The detective paused at the door. For what it's worth, Guzman muttered, I've got daughters too. What those girls did was wrong. But these men, he glanced back at the departing SUVs. They're untouchable. Trust me, I've tried. Then why work for them? Because they threaten my pension, my family, same way they're threatening yours. Guzman's face hardened. Take the deal, soldier. Live to fight another day. He left. Wayne stood alone in his violated home, surrounded by the detritus of his life with Margaret, the photos of Christina growing up, the piano in the corner that would never sound the same. His phone buzzed. Jim Lutz, Christina's awake. Asking for you. Also, you need to see something. Wayne drove back to the hospital. Chapter 5, The Network. Christina was groggy from pain medication, but managed a small smile when Wayne entered her room. Jim stood by the window, laptop open, expression grim. Hey, baby. Wayne kissed Christina's forehead. How are you feeling? Like someone dropped a truck on my hands. She tried to laugh, but winced. Daddy, what happened at the gym? The nurses are talking about. It's handled. Don't worry about it. You hurt them, didn't you? Wayne met her eyes. He'd never lied to Christina, never believed in shielding children from truth when it mattered. Yes. Good, she whispered fiercely. They deserved it. Christina. No, Dad. You don't know what it's been like. Those girls, they've been targeting me since day one. Stealing my stuff, spreading rumors, pushing me in the halls. I tried to ignore it like you taught me. Turn the other cheek. But it kept getting worse. And the teachers? The principal? They all knew. They just didn't care because those girls are stars, and I'm nobody. Jim closed his laptop. She's not wrong, Wayne. I've been digging. This isn't the first time. Wayne turned. What? There were 2 other students before Christina. 3 years ago, a girl named Beverly Melton filed a complaint about the basketball team harassing her. The complaint vanished. Beverly transferred schools. 2 years ago, another incident with a student named Sue Nelson, same pattern. Harassment escalated to physical assault. Sue's parents tried to press charges. They suddenly dropped everything and moved to Oregon. Shepard and his friends. Deeper than that, Jim pulled up files on his laptop. I called in some favors with old contacts at the Bureau. Thomas Shepard's firm has represented Ridgemont Academy for 20 years. They've made dozens of lawsuits disappear: assault, discrimination, sexual harassment. The school's basketball program brings in millions in prestige and donations. Those 8 girls are protected assets. Wayne's jaw clenched. They offer me a deal. Leave Virginia or go to prison. They'll kill you in prison, Jim said bluntly. They've set you up perfectly. Cops on payroll, witnesses bought, evidence fabricated. Wayne, if you stay and fight this conventionally, you lose. So I run? Let them win. No. Jim's eyes gleamed. You do what we were trained to do. Asymmetric warfare. You can't fight them in the system. They own the system. So you fight outside it. Christina reached for Wayne's hand with her bandaged fingers. What does that mean? Wayne looked at his daughter, at Jim, then out the window at the Virginia night. Somewhere out there, 8 girls slept comfortably in their beds, confident they'd gotten away with torture. Their fathers slept soundly too, secure in their power. It means, Wayne said quietly, that I'm going to war. Jim grinned. Now you're thinking clearly. I've already started reconnaissance. These men aren't just rich and connected, they're dirty. Shepard's firm has a history of witness tampering and evidence destruction. Campos's campaign finance violations buried deep. Snyder's office has lost evidence in cases involving wealthy defendants. And Guzman. Jim's smile turned predatory. That detective has gambling debts up to his eyeballs. Loans from very unsavory people. Everyone has vulnerabilities. Exactly. And you know what their biggest vulnerability is? Pride. They think they've won. They think you're just another victim they can steamroll. They have no idea who you really are. Wayne felt it then, the shift, the operator awakening. For 3 years, he'd tried to be a normal father, a civilian, someone who solved problems with words instead of violence. But these men had changed the rules. They'd threatened his daughter twice now. No more playing nice. I need intelligence, Wayne said. Full workups on all 8 families. Financial records, communications, schedules, weaknesses. I need to know everything. Already started. But Wayne, if we do this, it has to be perfect. One mistake, and they bury you. Then we don't make mistakes. Wayne turned to Christina. Baby, I need to send you somewhere safe. Jim's sister in Montana. No. Christina's voice was stronger now, clearer. I'm not running, Dad. They already took my hands. My music. My school. They don't get to take you too. Christina, I mean it. Whatever you're planning, I want to know. I want to help. Wayne and Jim exchanged glances. Finally, Wayne nodded. Okay, but you stay in the hospital where they can't reach you. And you trust me. Can you do that? I've always trusted you, Daddy. He kissed her forehead again and stepped into the hallway with Jim. How long do we have? Wayne asked. Until midnight. That's when they expect your answer. But I'd say we have maybe a week before they lose patience and move against Christina directly. Then we move faster. I need equipment. Storage unit in Falls Church. Same one from the old days. Wayne pulled out his phone and opened a secure app he hadn't used in years. Within seconds, he was connected to a private network, former Delta operators, intelligence assets, people who owed him favors from shadows. His message was simple. Need a team. Virginia. High-value targets. We'll pay. Responses came back within minutes. By dawn, Wayne would have 6 operators, a signals intelligence expert, and enough firepower to start a small war. But this wouldn't be a war of bullets. This would be something far more devastating. What's the play? Jim asked. Wayne smiled, and it was not a kind expression. We're going to do what I do best. Hunt. These men think they're lions. They've spent their whole lives eating smaller animals, never being challenged. They've forgotten that lions aren't apex predators. What is? Man, Wayne said, and I'm about to remind them. Chapter 6, The Setup. The storage unit in Falls Church hadn't been opened in 3 years, but the biometric lock still recognized Wayne's thumbprint. Inside, stacked in careful order, was his old life. Equipment cases, weapons lockers, communication gear, and most importantly, the intelligence archives he'd compiled over 2 decades of operations. Ramiro Tracy arrived first. Stocky, quiet, an electronics warfare specialist who could crack any system. Then came Lowell Guzman's opposite, Jorge Bauer, a former FBI agent who'd quit when he realized the Bureau was more interested in politics than justice. By 4 a.m., the team was assembled in Wayne's basement. 6 men total, each one handpicked, each one carrying their own reasons for hating men like Shepard. "Here's what we know," Wayne said, pulling up files on a projector. 8 families, all wealthy, all connected, all protected by Thomas Shepard's legal machine. They've created a system where they can commit crimes with impunity because they own the authorities who should stop them. Ramiro studied the screen. "So we expose them." "Not enough. Exposure requires media coverage, and they control the media relationships. We need something that bypasses all their protections." Jorge leaned forward. "You're talking about making them destroy themselves." "Exactly." Wayne clicked to the next slide, a web of connections between the families. "These men are allies, but barely. Their partnership is based on mutual benefit, not trust. They protect each other because it serves their interests. But what happens when those interests conflict? They turn on each other," Jim said, catching on. "Classic divide and conquer. More than that, we're going to engineer a scenario where they each believe the others are betraying them, where their own paranoia and greed become weapons against them." Ramiro grinned. "I like it. What do you need from me?" "Access to their communications. Phones, emails, home security systems. Everything. Done. Give me 48 hours. Wayne turned to Jorge. "I need official records. Real ones. These men have been covering their tracks for years, but nobody's perfect. Find the mistakes." "Already on it. I've got friends in records offices who owe me favors." The planning session lasted until sunrise. By the time the team dispersed, Wayne had an operational framework that would have made his old Delta commanders proud. But first, he had to deliver a message. At 9 a.m., Wayne drove to Shepard's law office in downtown D.C. The building was all glass and steel, designed to intimidate. He walked through the lobby like he owned it, past the security desk, into the elevator. Thomas Shepard's secretary tried to stop him, but Wayne simply walked past her into the corner office. Shepard looked up from his desk, surprise flickering across his face before settling back into arrogance. "Mr. Gentry, I don't recall scheduling a meeting. I came to give you my answer. And that is—" Wayne sat down uninvited. "No, I'm not leaving. I'm not running. And you're not going to do anything about it." Shepard's laugh was genuine. "Mr. Gentry, I admire your courage, if not your intelligence. The arrest warrant is ready. One phone call." "Make it," Wayne interrupted. "Call Detective Guzman. Have me arrested. But before you do, understand something. I spent 22 years in Delta Force. I've operated in 43 countries, most of them without official authorization. I know things about powerful men that would make your skin crawl. And I've learned that the most powerful weapon isn't violence, it's information. Are you threatening me? I'm educating you. You think you're untouchable. You think your money and connections make you immune. But I've killed men with more money and better connections. I've toppled warlords who controlled entire regions. And do you know how I did it?" Shepard's expression had shifted. Still arrogant, but now uncertain. "I made them destroy themselves," Wayne continued. "I found their weaknesses, their greed, their paranoia, their pride, and I exploited those weaknesses until they turned on each other. By the time I was done, I never had to fire a shot. They did all the work for me. This isn't a war zone, Mr. Gentry. No, it's worse. It's a place where you've gotten comfortable, where you've forgotten that there are still predators in the world. You thought you were hunting my daughter. Now you're going to learn what it feels like to be prey." Wayne stood. "You have one chance. Drop everything. Admit what your daughters did. Face real consequences. Or, I promise you, what happens next will haunt you forever. Get out of my office. I'll see myself out." Wayne paused at the door. "Oh, and Thomas? Tell Martin Snyder that his offshore accounts in the Caymans aren't as secure as he thinks. Tell Jeffrey Campos that the video from his business trip to Thailand last year is quite interesting. And tell Ross Conklin's mother that her son isn't the only one whose secrets can be exposed. Shepard's face had gone white. How did you? I'm very good at my job. Wayne smiled. You have 72 hours. After that, the gloves come off. He left Shepard sitting at his desk, stunned and finally afraid. Chapter 7. The Trap. Thomas Shepard called an emergency meeting that evening. All the fathers gathered at Jeffrey Campos's estate in McLean, a mansion that screamed old money and political power. They didn't know that Ramiro Tracy had infiltrated their communications. They didn't know that every word was being recorded. He knows, Shepard said without preamble. Wayne Gentry knows about our various arrangements. That's impossible, Martin Snyder snapped. My accounts are protected by Swiss privacy laws. And yet he named them specifically. Cayman Holdings. Exact figures. The room went cold. Jeffrey Campos poured himself 3 fingers of scotch. The Thailand thing, he said quietly. No one knows about that. I made sure. The girl, she signed papers. Legal papers. The girl was 16, Jeffrey, Shepard said harshly. And the papers were forged. We both know it. So what do we do? Ross Conklin's father, a man named Patrick Perez who ran a pharmaceutical company, looked panicked. If he releases this information, we destroy him first, Snyder said. Discredit him. Make him look insane. I can have federal charges filed by morning. Terrorism, threats. His military background makes it plausible. But Shepard was shaking his head. You're not listening. This man is different. He's not bluffing, and he's not acting alone. Someone with serious capabilities is helping him. Then we go after his daughter, Campos suggested. Make it clear that. Touch her, and you're dead. The voice came from the corner of the room. The father spun to see Jim Lutz standing in the shadows, a pistol held casually at his side. How did you get in here? Campos demanded. Same way we got into all your houses, Jim said pleasantly. Ramiro sends his regards, by the way. Your security systems are now ours. Every camera, every microphone, every locked door. The room erupted in shouting, but Jim fired a single shot into the ceiling. Silence. Here's what's going to happen, Jim continued. You're each going to receive a package tomorrow. In that package will be evidence of crimes. Real crimes, not the fabricated nonsense you try to pin on Wayne. Tax evasion, bribery. In Mr. Campos's case, some particularly disturbing international incidents. In Mr. Snyder's case, evidence that you've been accepting bribes to dismiss charges against the wealthy. This is entrapment, Snyder sputtered. No, this is justice. And here's the beautiful part. Each of you is going to receive evidence that suggests one of the others is about to betray you. Memos, recorded conversations, financial transfers, all carefully constructed to make you paranoid. Shepard's eyes narrowed. You're trying to turn us against each other. Not trying, succeeding. Because by tomorrow, each of you will be convinced that your partners are about to throw you under the bus to save themselves. And you know what? You'll be right. Because that's exactly what you're all planning to do anyway. We're just accelerating the process. Jim moved toward the door. Wayne gave you 72 hours to make this right. You got 68 left. Choose wisely. He vanished into the night, leaving chaos behind. Chapter 8. The Fall. The first domino fell at 6 a.m. Martin Snyder received a package at his home. Inside, documentation showing Jeffrey Campos had cut a deal with federal prosecutors, agreeing to testify against his co-conspirators in exchange for immunity. The documents looked official because they were official. Jorge had friends in very useful places. Campos received his own package 30 minutes later, evidence that Snyder was embezzling from clients and had plans to frame Campos for the missing money. By 8 a.m., both men had contacted their own private attorneys. By 9 a.m., they'd filed motions against each other. Shepard tried to hold the coalition together, but his own package arrived at 10 a.m. Forensic accounting records showing that several of his legal partners were siphoning firm assets. His confrontation with them was loud, public, and destructive. The Ridgemont Academy parents watched their carefully constructed alliance crumble in real time. But Wayne wasn't done. At noon, he visited each of the 8 girls. Not to threaten, to educate. Doug Walters was first. She answered the door on crutches, her basketball career over. Your father is about to be disbarred, Wayne said simply. The evidence of his misconduct is overwhelming. Your family will lose everything. The house, the cars, your college fund, all of it. You can't. I already have. But here's what's interesting. You can still change the outcome. Doug's mother, Gretchen Holcomb, appeared behind her daughter. Get away from my house, or I'm calling the police. Call them. Ask for Detective Guzman. See what he says. Wayne never broke eye contact with Doug. Your daughter tortured mine, destroyed her hands, her music, her future, and you defended it because you're all more concerned with protecting your status than doing what's right. She's just a child, Gretchen protested. No, she's a monster you created, but she doesn't have to stay one. Wayne held out a document. This is a full confession. What you did, why you did it. If you sign it, if you face real consequences, I'll pull back. Your father might still practice law. Your family might survive. And if I don't, then I keep pulling strings until there's nothing left. He visited all 8 girls that day. Each one received the same offer. Each one had to choose between protecting themselves and protecting their family's crumbling empires. By sunset, 5 had signed. Chapter 9. The Resolution. 3 months later, Ridgemont Academy held a special assembly. Principal Lorena Conklin, former principal, technically, as she'd been fired 2 months earlier, sat in the audience next to her daughter Ross. Both faced criminal charges for conspiracy to commit assault and obstruction of justice. The new principal, Anita Friedman, stood at the podium. Today we honor Christina Gentry, she announced. Despite suffering tremendous injury at the hands of students at this institution, she has chosen to continue her education here. More than that, she has established a foundation to help other students who face bullying and assault. Christina walked onto the stage, her hands still wrapped in compression gloves, but functional enough to hold the microphone. She'd been practicing piano again. Not the complex pieces she'd loved before, but simpler melodies. Different, but still beautiful. I wanted to hate this place, Christina said. And I did for a while. But my father taught me that hate doesn't fix anything. It just makes more broken things. In the audience, Wayne watched his daughter with fierce pride. Beside him sat Jim, Ramiro, Jorge, and 3 of the other operators who'd helped execute the operation. The girls who hurt me made terrible choices, Christina continued. Some of them have apologized. Some are facing criminal charges. All of them have to live with what they did. But more importantly, we're changing the systems that protected them. No more covering up assaults. No more protecting star athletes over regular students. No more letting money and power dictate justice. The assembly ended with standing ovation. Wayne met Christina at the stage entrance. Proud of you, baby. Couldn't have done it without you. She hugged him carefully. Dad, did you really do all the things they're saying you did? The stuff that made those families turn on each other? Wayne smiled. I did what I had to do to protect you. Was it legal? Does it matter? Christina thought about it. No, not really. They were going to destroy us. You just destroyed them first. Very efficiently, Jim added, joining them. Speaking of which, Shepard's disbarment hearing is next week. Campos resigned from the Senate yesterday. Snyder's under federal investigation. And the school board? Completely replaced. New superintendent, new policies, zero tolerance for the old guard's corruption. Wayne checked his phone. A message from Anita Friedman. Thank you. For everything. He'd never told her about his role in the administrative coup. She'd figure it out anyway. What now? Christina asked. Do we stay? Or do we still have to leave? Wayne looked at his daughter, at the school she'd fought to stay in, at the community they'd forcibly reformed. We stay. This is home, and nobody drives us from home. They walked to the parking lot together. Behind them, Ridgemont Academy stood transformed. Not perfect, but better. The basketball team had been suspended for a year. 5 girls faced juvenile charges. The other 3, including Doug Walters, were serving community service sentences and undergoing mandatory counseling. Thomas Shepard's empire had crumbled. His firm dissolved. His partners turned state's evidence. His daughter Doug had been expelled, but was reportedly attending a different school, humbled and changed. Jeffrey Campos would face trial for his Thailand incident. Martin Snyder's career was over. Patrick Perez's pharmaceutical company was under investigation for fraud. The system hadn't fixed itself. Wayne had forced it to change, one domino at a time. As they drove away, Christina asked one more question. Dad, if it happened again, if someone threatened me like that, would you do it all over? Wayne didn't hesitate. Every single time. Without question. Good, Christina said quietly. Because that's what real strength is. Not beating people up. Not being feared. It's being the kind of father who burns the whole world down to protect his kid. Wayne smiled. Your mother would have said that more poetically. Mom would have helped you. He laughed because it was true. Margaret had been gentle and kind, but she'd also been fierce in defense of those she loved. Christina had inherited that, the ability to be soft and strong simultaneously. 2 months after that, Christina gave her first piano recital since the injury. She couldn't play the complex classical pieces she'd once mastered, but she'd adapted, learning new techniques, finding different ways to make music. The auditorium was packed. Wayne sat in the front row, watching his daughter transform pain into beauty. When she finished, the ovation lasted 5 minutes. Afterward, in the car, Christina said, You know what the weird thing is? What? I'm better now than I was before. Not at piano. I'll never get that back. But as a person, I'm stronger, more aware, less naive about how the world works. That's not a gift I wanted to give you. I know, but it's the one I got, and I'm going to use it. That foundation I started, I've got 15 students involved now. Kids who were bullied and silenced. We're documenting everything, creating accountability systems, forcing the school to follow through on its reforms. Wayne felt his chest tighten with pride. You're organizing. I learned from a best, Christina grinned. I can't punch people like you can, but I can out-organize them, out-document them, make them face consequences through sheer persistence. Your mother will be so proud. So are you. I can tell. He was more than proud, amazed. His daughter had taken trauma and weaponized it into positive change. She turned victimhood into advocacy. 3 years later, Christina's foundation had expanded to 12 schools. The Ridgemont Academy basketball team, rebuilt with new leadership and strict oversight, won state championships. But this time, they won with honor. Doug Walters wrote Christina a letter. It arrived on a Tuesday, handwritten, for pages long. An apology that took 3 years to formulate, to mean. Christina read it once, then filed it away. Are you going to respond? Wayne asked. Maybe someday, when I'm ready, or maybe never. She doesn't get to dictate my healing. Wayne understood. Some wounds scar. Some scars remind us to stay vigilant. Some vigilance saves lives. He'd done terrible things to protect his daughter. He destroyed families, ended careers, forced powerful men to consume themselves from within. And given the chance, he'd do it all again without hesitation. Because in the end, the world had 2 kinds of people, those who protected the innocent and those who preyed on them. Wayne knew which kind he was, and he knew that in the spaces between law and justice, in the shadows where monsters hid, someone had to stand watch. He'd been that someone for 22 years in Delta Force. He'd be that someone until he died. His daughter was safe. The predators who'd hurt her had been destroyed. And anyone who threatened Christina Gentry in the future would learn the same lesson those 8 families had learned. Some fathers fight with lawyers. Some fathers fight with money. Wayne Gentry fought with everything, and he never, ever lost. This is where our story comes to an end. Share your thoughts in the comments section. Thanks for your precious time. If you enjoyed this story, then please make sure you subscribe to this channel. That would help me a lot. Click on the video you see on the screen, and I will